The American Red Cross is an organization that has touched my life in many ways. Starting in the early 90s, my grandfather was diagnosed with leukemia, and during that time obviously required a great deal of blood. The American Red Cross was there to provide that life source for him. I remember my mother telling me that ever since that time she has been a loyal donor to the American Red Cross simply because she knows that they're the organization that provides that resource to so many people that need it. Later in the 1990s, I became a lifeguard and then a lifeguard instructor. It was something that just was very interesting to me. In doing that, I also became a CPR and first aid instructor, and that was the way that I could give back to the Red Cross. So providing that service to those who were interested in getting that life-saving training. On February 22nd of 2007, my home burned completely in the city's largest fire. It's a time when something like that happens, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to expect. I mean, it never happens. And then for it to happen to me, it was such a great relief to see that the American Red Cross was there within hours, ready to help, provide funds, resources, whatever I needed to deal with this situation. And that was, there's no way to explain how much that's worth. It was just great to have the people there that were ready to give aid. Right now, as we speak, my youngest brother is in Korea serving in the U.S. Army. He's currently in the field, and it would be difficult for me to get in touch with him, and it is very good to know that the Red Cross can provide military communications at any time should that need arise. And it just is another thing that I realize, that the Red Cross has been there for many different things of my life, being it teaching, being it CPR first aid training, be it disaster relief. The American Red Cross has been there for me.
I've been with the Red Cross board, I think 4 years now, and I've always been in the other side of the coin, helping people, getting people to donate blood, to be involved with the Red Cross. And on February 22nd, I was working in Fuquay Varina, and I received a call that my neighborhood was on fire. Not to worry, then I got a second call saying your house is gone. When I got to Capitol Boulevard, to my neighborhood, I wasn't allowed to come in, and I wasn't allowed, to see what's happening. I haven't seen the news, so I didn't know what's happening. So the policeman told me to go to the hotel. So it took me a while to find which hotel in Capitol Boulevard. And when I finally found the hotel, I was amazed. The Red Cross was already there. They already also have counseling, which, to me was the last thing to find over there. One of the nicest thing was that one of the girls here thought that I was there for volunteer, and I said no. My house was one of the ones that burned down, and she says, oh my God. But when I went into the room, everything was already set up. Incredible. One of the first things I received was a Mickey Mouse stuffed animals. I said, wow, just like a kid, you need something to hug on. And the first thing they asked me was about my medicine, the last thing on my mind. Really, I was so lucky because I didn't realize how fast the Red Cross moved to organize and to help people. I think I'm going to volunteer more, and I think we need more volunteers, not only as far as monetary, but we also need people to donate blood, that sometimes people forget about that. In this case, we were very blessed that there was no loss of life, nobody got hurt. But in some fires, there's a different story. So I would like very much, as a board member and as a part of this community, to try to touch people to get in touch more with the Red Cross, because this is run by volunteers, and through their effort and their time and their kindness, they'll be able to help our community.
My name is Mary Hinton, and I am a blood services recipient. In 2003, I had a blood transfusion. I found out actually where I worked at, we had blood drives all the time. Never thought it was really of relevance to me. I was 24 at the time, didn't quite understand what blood donation was, but I went to work that day and had a sharp pain. By that time, my coworkers rushed me to the hospital, and they found out I had been bleeding internally for about a week. I had to go in surgery. At that time, I needed to receive about 6 pints of blood, or it was literally a life or death situation. I had a blood transfusion, was in surgery for about 6 hours, and from that day forward, once I got healed, probably about a year later, I started donating blood. And for me, it's very important because never would I have ever thought at 24 years old I would need a blood transfusion or blood products from the Red Cross. But now it's the main reason why I go. Every time I get a call from the Red Cross saying we need your blood type, I always think back to that same person who maybe got that same call saying they needed my blood type, and they came and donated for me to be able to have a blood transfusion.
My son was involved in an automobile accident. At that time, he was rushed to Wake Med and received over 64 units of blood in the emergency room. During his stay in SICU, which was another 4 weeks, he received over 100 units of blood. And if it had not been for the donors for the American Red Cross and giving blood, he would not have made it past the emergency room. I have been a blood donor. In fact, a friend of ours set up a website for my son to get updates on his condition. And through that website, we recruited donors to come to Wake Med and Pear Tree Lane to actually donate blood, and we had several responses in doing that. I have known friends, family, and associates who have given blood and received blood for the life-saving donors who have contributed.
My name is Teresa Cody, and I'm the wife of a currently deployed 82nd Airborne soldier. One of the greatest benefits that the military families in this country have is the Armed Forces Emergency Services provided by the American Red Cross. It's one of the first services we hear about, and it's one of the services that every single one of us will utilize over the course of our spouse or loved one's deployment or military service. This past summer, my grandfather passed away. When he passed away, my husband was out into the field and was unreachable by cell phone or by any other contact for 48 hours. I called the American Red Cross's AAFES number and relayed the information to an American Red Cross volunteer. That volunteer then verified the information that I had given him, and within 24 hours my husband was notified and at home with me and my family. The American Red Cross is the bridge between myself and my husband currently, and a bridge between the 1.4 million armed service members currently serving our country and their families.
Carolyn Paskey. I'm from Cary, North Carolina.
I'm Stephanie Paskey, and I'm from Cary, North Carolina.
We were having a family dinner one evening, and it was a steak dinner. And my 3 kids and myself, my son Matt, who was sitting across from me, is trained in CPR and life-saving. He's a lifeguard, and we were laughing over dinner, and I ingested a piece of meat that lodged in my throat. And I got up from the table and went around to the other side. I don't know where I was going, but I was just walking around. My husband knew there was something wrong, and he yelled to Matt to help me. And Matt got up from the table and performed the Heimlich maneuver 3 or 4 times. The steak dislodged itself, and I was fine. After my experience, believe it or not, it happened again. We were at the beach for a family reunion, and the same dinner, actually, steak. My daughter Stephanie choked.
I took a bite of steak, and I choked on it, and I got up from the table and did the choking sign, and my mom yelled to my brother to do the Heimlich on me, and so he ran over to me and he did the Heimlich like 3 or 4 times, and it came up.
Well, the training the Red Cross provided for my son is invaluable because it has saved 2 lives in our family. And I have seen another instance where a little girl was choking on a piece of candy, and a stranger in the parking lot came up and saved her life as well. You can't put a value on a couple hours training to save a life.